Chào mừng đến Security 365, Trung tâm ôn luyện thi chứng chỉ quốc tế và đào tạo về an toàn thông tin. Today, we're going to break down some tricky questions from the CEH exam to help you feel more confident on your path to getting that certification.
So, are you ready to put your CEH knowledge to the test? Over the next few minutes, we're going to dive deep into some realistic attack scenarios. The goal isn't just to find the right answer, but to really understand why it's the right answer. Think of this as a little warm-up before the real exam. Let's get started.
All right, our first topic is session and evasion attacks. Now, you can think of these as two sides of the same coin. Once an attacker gets a hold of your session, they're going to try everything to cover their tracks from any defense systems. Let's see exactly how they do that with these next two questions.
Okay, let's break this scenario down. What's the key detail here? The hacker, Boney, isn't stealing the victim's session. It's actually the other way around. He's actively giving his own valid session to the victim. You can imagine Boney logging into his own shopping account, then tricking you into using that exact login session to enter your credit card details. Any purchase you make gets linked right back to his account. This technique of gifting a pre-authenticated session is the very definition of, you guessed it, C, session donation attack. It's different from session fixation, where a hacker tricks you into using a session ID that they already know, but not one that's already logged in and authenticated as them.
So, to sum it up, the core idea behind a session donation attack is tricking the victim into performing actions in the attacker's context. It's a really subtle technique because it doesn't involve cracking passwords or stealing credentials. It just exploits trust and a user's lack of awareness. In our next question, the hacker Kevin is up against a big obstacle, an intrusion detection system, or IDS. The whole job of an IDS is to monitor network traffic and spot malicious packets. So to get around it, Kevin encoded his packets using Unicode. Think of it like writing a message in a secret code. To the IDS, it just looks like a bunch of meaningless characters, but the web server at the destination has the key to decode it and understand the real message. This act of intentionally making data difficult to understand to evade detection is called C, obfuscating. Okay, let's shift gears. We're now moving to the front lines of an attack, targeting the heart of an application, its database and user information. This section is all about two super common techniques: injection attacks to exploit vulnerabilities and enumeration to gather intelligence. These are fundamental skills that every ethical hacker needs to master.
This is a classic example of SQL injection. The goal here is simple: log in without needing a password. So let's dissect the payload the attacker entered. Attack or 1=1 --. First, that single quote after the word attack is there to close the username string field. Then the statement or 1=1 is added. In logic, anything ORed with a condition that is always true will always result in true. And here's the most important part: the two dashes, --. In SQL, that's a symbol for a comment. Everything that comes after it, including the part of the query that checks the password, is completely ignored by the server. Put it all together, and you get the command in option D. It's a statement that is always true and completely bypasses the password check. This question tests your knowledge of the SMTP protocol, which is the Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, the foundation of all email. During the reconnaissance phase of an attack, one of the first things a hacker wants to do is figure out which email addresses actually exist on the target server. And to do that, they use the command verify. Just like its name suggests, verify, this command is specifically designed to ask the server, hey, does this user exist? And the server will reply with a yes or a no.
For a final question, we're going to tackle a fundamental problem in information security: protecting data while it's in transit. You know, if your data, especially things like usernames and passwords, is being sent in plain text, like a postcard that anyone can read, that's a recipe for disaster. Let's see how to fix that.
So Bella's problem is crystal clear. Sensitive data is being sent as plain text. She needs a solution that provides both encryption and uses digital certificates. And it specifically has to be for transferring files. Let's look at our options. FTP, which is option B, is completely insecure. HTTPS, option C, does use encryption, but it's designed for web traffic, not as a dedicated file transfer protocol. The best answer here is A, FTPS, which stands for FTP Secure. It's basically the traditional FTP protocol wrapped in a protective layer of SSL/TLS security, which meets both her requirements for encryption and digital certificates for file transfers. And we're done. Congratulations! We've just walked through techniques from tricking users with session donation to bypassing an IDS with obfuscation, all the way to gaining access with SQL injection. Really understanding the attacker's mindset is the best way to become a great defender. Treat every question like a lesson and just keep practicing.
Hãy truy cập security365.vn để xem thêm nhiều tài liệu ôn thi khác. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.